2026 is going to be an awesome year. We got some pretty cool stuff coming up. First off, we got Foundations of Recovery. This is our flagship program. We're starting it in January.
This is for anyone, man, woman, or couple who wants to come and reclaim their heart from shame, trauma, and betrayal. We start off with an education on all sorts of principles, give you the common language. We feed you from a fire hose in terms of all things recovery.
It is such a great start to recovery. And we get at the roots of things, Tyler. This isn't like any other program. Like, this is our healing journey in process, and Foundations is where we begin.
If you look at the value that you're getting there to kick off a good recovery with all of the right education, all of the right language, and a team to get you started while also being directed by Brannon and myself through the whole process, what a deal.
So if you're interested, if you're struggling, if you've been wanting to do something for a long time, jump into this. This only comes around every so often, and we would love to have you there.
Click the link in the description to sign up for it. And to make it even sweeter, we're also including a raffle for a free pass to the Radiant Dawn retreat. Anyone who signs up for Foundations will be added to the raffle for that free Radiant Dawn pass. If you're a man and you sign up for Foundations, your name still gets entered, and you can give that pass away if you win it to any woman that you want to.
So what you're saying, Tyler, is if you sign up and participate in Foundations, you could possibly go to Radiant Dawn for free?
That's exactly what I'm saying, which is crazy because Foundations by itself is already an insane value.
Man, I sound so salesy. But it actually is awesome. So come to Foundations. And even if you don't come to Foundations, sign up for Radiant Dawn. It's beyond therapy, the best healing experiences that you can have.
Click the link below and come join us.
Everything my partner does bothers me. How do we get unstuck?
Welcome to the Therapy Brothers podcast.
I'm Brannon.
I'm Tyler.
We're brothers.
We're therapists.
And we know recovery.
Bring your stories, your questions, your successes with real recovery.
Hey, Tyler, you ready to have some hard conversations?
Let's do it.
Let the Therapy Brothers podcast begin.
Brannon, how's it going, man?
It's going. It's, bumping along.
It's funny, the topic today, I've wondered that question on the other side of it. Everything I do bothers my partner. How do I stop?
Yeah, we should have your wife on asking this question.
Should have Rhiannon come on and actually speak to this question. I don't know if she'd have any good advice or not, because maybe I still bother her with everything I do. I don't know. So,
which I don't understand. I mean, you don't do anything annoying, ever. No, that's
Never.
true though. You're just, you just lay around, watch UFC, just you help around the house.
Yeah, right.
You are a perfect husband.
It's a pure miracle. We're hitting 25 years this year, and with what I put her through, it is an actual miracle that we're going to hit our 25th year this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
And still like each other, because I think she likes me again now. It took a while.
That's because you're a good dude, and you got a great smile.
Thanks, man.
So she'll hang on just for your smile. So.
My smile is great for Zoom meetings because it's like bing, it's like glow in the dark. So
no, she's a lucky woman, and you're a lucky man. So
I am a lucky man.
Yeah. Well, we are blessed today because we have a couple here with us, and we've wanted couples to come on, couples who are stuck, couples who just kind of struggling. We want to help couples to just get unstuck. And so Jeff and Lexus answered the call. They're here with us today. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks for having us.
If you could give us a little bit of what's going on, a little bit of background. We don't care if it's Jeff or Lexus, either one of you, but just fill us in. Tell us where you're at and what's going on.
Well, I'll start. Obviously, so I gotta just quickly own the fact that I was on the show about a year ago. We were getting ready we were kind of preparing for a vacation out to Utah. We're living in Georgia right now, and we were having some fights over how much time will we spend with each family and stuff like that. It's now been a year. Lex is actually out in Utah right now. I'm about to fly out there on Wednesday, and yeah, I just kind of I started listening to your podcast again. I kind of took a little break and I heard the call, and so I just signed up. And then I told Lex, I'm like, hey, I signed us up for this. So she might be a little bit blindsided by it. She's probably I probably annoyed her yet again, but I'll let her decide on that one.
Yeah,
So.
no. Yeah, we live in Atlanta, Georgia, and been married for 10 years. Jeff's been working through recovery for, I don't know, how long has it been, Jeff? 2 years?
2 years. I mean, we had you'd found out about it beforehand, and we'd actually gone and met in I believe Tyler's practice there. I'm looking at his little office right now, and it's like kind of familiar to when we were meeting there. And so, but yeah, actually act like working recovery for myself from my own like inside. It's been about 2 years now, 2.5 years.
Yeah. So he's been working that. And I mean, as with all of that recovery and addiction and everything comes a lot of pain, a lot of anger, a lot of sadness, just like all the emotions I'm sure as a lot of women feel. And I don't know, I think we're at a point where we have 2 young girls, and so we're in a hard stage as far as like parenting goes, and trying to figure out like how to manage their emotions, and then we're also trying to manage our marriage and our emotions, and just feeling really stuck and feeling like, I mean, I'm feeling a lot of resentment and annoyance and anger and things like that towards Jeff, and I don't even know where it's really coming from, but just I don't know if it's just like, oh, this is part of like the recovery process. Like, here's a stage where, like, we're like stepping through the stage. Hopefully, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. But yeah, I think we're just in a place where I feel stuck, and like, we're coming up on 10 years of marriage, and it's like things are just looking different than maybe I thought they were, and I didn't know we were going to have to be dealing with like such a hard like recovery process, and like all the pain that comes with addiction and things like that at this point. So yeah, that's a little bit about like where we're at, and like where we just want somewhere to go. I think we're just feeling a little bit hopeless.
And just to give a little more context as well, like I've been working this recovery for like last 2.5 years. And part of that was I got my sponsor in my 12-step program about, it was February of last year. So a year and a half ago. And he's intense. And so it's required me to like, he wants me to go to 4 in-person meetings a week, for my particular one, which I do. I actually just picked up a sponsee. So, that's adding more time. So it's been intensive. I've also been working with a therapist from I think Tyler's group. So all in all, like I think you guys were talking about the levels of program or whatever. Like I guess this would be almost a 2.1 or whatever. Like between all the stuff that I'm doing, it's a lot. And so that Lex has to pick up the bill a lot of times, like time wise, like with the girls and bedtimes and things that like I can't do because I'm working this program. So yeah, just intensely, and that's been going on for the last year and a half. And so I think she's had to pick up a lot. And then I think she just recently started working a 12-step program as well, as far as
February.
and Anon or whatever.
S-Anon.
S-Anon, yeah.
Yep. So
as of February. So I think that also brings up a lot of like, oh, like I didn't know I was feeling these things, or and hearing other people's stories, like, oh, like should I be more mad, or I don't know, like just you're trying to figure out. I'm working through these things now, which I haven't been before, so I think that adds to it. It's been so helpful and such a great resource to have like a group of women who just like really understand what I'm going through. Just because like I have friends who I've told, and it's like, they can be like, wow, that's really hard. But it's like to really be with a group of women who have gone through the exact, if not worse, like than I have, just like makes all the difference and has been a huge, huge blessing. So, it takes a lot of time. It's like hard. It's like something like selfish, like an addiction, like takes away a lot of time. And then now to work through the recovery process is now taking so much time away from our family. And so it's just like a hard like balance of like, you know, I know this is right, but gosh, it's hard. So
Yeah. I know this is kind of maybe a stupid question, but is the programming as you're doing it working?
Yeah. So I'm currently 10 months sober. I think I've made a lot of a lot of strides. I think it's working. I will say I was just actually thinking about that. What was I going to say? Now I've forgotten. I was just going to say that like I think being sober. There's a line from the book where it's like sober is not well, and so certainly that's like true at times where it's like, yeah, my old coping mechanisms, my way to like numb some of the pains or the things I don't want to feel, like those are gone. So there are times now where like, the anger comes out and like, rather than just like holding it in where it's like, oh, I can go numb in a little bit or whatever it is. It's like, no, I'm just angry. And so I make more mistakes now for sure, or at least I feel all of the pain of the mistakes that I make. And so, like I hate to admit it, but like I don't know that I was really much of a yeller before, but I find myself yelling more, which is super painful because like, like a lot of times it's at my daughters who are like, 6 and 2, and it's just like they really aren't the causes per se. It's just like I get to this place of fear and insanity, and then this stuff comes out. And so whereas before, I could obviously go numb or like just forget it or whatever, like I don't do that now. So I have to sit in pain a lot more, which is uncomfortable, but at the same time, like I think it's better and I think it's going to actually yield growth. Whereas before it was just numb and then there'd be no growth. So I certainly think that I think the program's working. I just think there's a lot more pain and there's a lot more awareness of the amount of pain that is there to work through.
Yep.
You're nodding your head, Lexus. Do you agree with that? Do you feel like the program's working?
Yeah, like my first like discovery date was back in 20. I was like before we had kids, so 2018. And that's when he was saying like, oh, we were coming to your office, meeting with somebody there, and things like that. And that was like for, I don't know, 6 to 8 months. And I was like, we did it. Like we did, that was easy, like we worked through that. And then, come to find out 5-6 years later that, that actually wasn't the case. And he was still acting out throughout all that time. And I didn't know. So like, but the person he is after these last 2 years of like really intensive, like work in the program he's completely different. And like, yeah, it's true. It's hard because he is showing up in a different way where, we're not used to him being as emotional, I guess. I think it's been hard for me because it's like, yeah, I think he was numbing it out like a lot of the time before. And so it's just like we're now shifting into this new place of like, he doesn't have coping skills. We need to figure out new ones. I need to figure out, new ones. I think we've kind of probably created some codependency and things like that as well. But yeah, I totally think that like SA can work if you put the time and effort in like he has. And even like we meet with a life coach together every other week, and she's met with Jeff since he chose like 2.5 years ago to like really put in the work to now. And she's like you should be like, look at you, Jeff, like you should be proud of yourself. Like you really, like he really has like taken, what do they say, take the bull by the horns, like he just really has just like run with it. And just like, which I'm grateful for, because being an S-Anon, I've now heard like that's not always the case.
Does it bother you too that you see that?
Yeah. I mean, it does in some ways. Like bother me that other people are not
No,
doing it
like
or with Jeff?
what you see him doing this, and this work is now hard, and you're seeing more emotion, and it's rough. You're grateful for it on one hand,
Yeah.
but on the other hand, does it bother you to see him taking the bull by the horns and starting to get better and causing the mess that
Yes.
it is?
Yeah, I think that's where some of the resentment comes from, is just like, man, like if you just never had this addiction, we wouldn't have to be going through this, and like you wouldn't be gone all the time, and like it's like a ball of yarn. It's like, we're like unraveling this ball of yarn. It's like, oh, here's another issue. It actually wasn't just the addiction. The addiction was hiding all of these issues that we haven't dealt with for 25 years, and here they are. And like now I'm a part of this, and it's like, and I'm doing the same for me. It's like, now I'm here and I'm like, I'm trying to unravel my ball of yarn as well. And so I think, yeah, there's a lot of pain, and it's really difficult.
I like your analogy with the ball of yarn. I guess my question is, the question that you guys have is basically like, how do we get unstuck? Everything he's doing bothers me. And so then let's put that question up against, is it working? Because what I'm hearing is, yes, it's working. And yet here you guys are in this situation right now today. So
Yeah.
I think some of it comes back to a bit recently, like after I made the appointment for this, like I feel like we've had a couple things kind of fall in place that almost helped us get unstuck from where we were, because it had been 2 or 3 weeks of just like kind of like banging our heads against things, and then we finally had kind of a point where we kind of got a little bit past some of this. I know certainly, like, I don't know, do you want to tell the story about running around in the kitchen, Lex, or do you want at a friend's house?
Oh, no, just like, yeah, one of the things that we brought up that was bothersome to me is I don't feel like Jeff reads the room very well, or just like can be childish in some ways. Is like, so we were at a friend's house, and Jeff was like running in circles in the kitchen with the kids, just like having fun. And we have friends who are pretty anxious about like their kids getting hurt or like doing anything that's just like maybe like accident inducing. And I know that because she's one of my best friends. And so I'm just like watching her just be so anxious about like what Jeff's doing. And I'm just like, we need to stop this. Like, why isn't he noticing that like this is an issue? So anyways, and then at the end, like one of their kid fell and smacked their face on the ground. And I just was like, see, like, look, like, this is so annoying. Like, we've told you to stop. Like, this is one of the things that just bothers me. I'm so annoyed. And like, look, prove my point. Like, there it is. And I think what Jeff's mentioning as far as like one of the conversations we've had with the life coach is like, I really have an issue with like trying to control other people's like I try to control other people's emotions and try to control how other people are showing up. And I do that with Jeff as well. So yeah, I mean, in regards to like, is it working? I'm like, yeah, like the program's working for him to be like sober and not acting out. I guess, yeah, I don't know.
is that like, will sobriety fix all the problems?
No.
It's kind of interesting hearing you guys talk, because it's almost like it's caused more.
Yes.
Now I'm more angry. I'm more kind of explosive, and our marriage, we're more stuck. It's like, if we really, and I know it seems crazy, but like 5 years ago till now, are you happier now than what you were 5 years ago?
In our marriage?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Right?
Sure. I'd say certainly less happy. I feel like our potential for joy is higher, though. But that's just my...
Okay.
Yeah, and why do you say that, Jeff?
I mean, personally, yeah, I'm not numb to everything, right? Like I'm aware, like I don't know how to say that. Like I really like I cherish those moments. Like it's kind of like the pain paints such a dark backdrop so that when those like moments of light do come in, they're just so much brighter. And also I know that like they're not going to be like, it's not always going to be like this like joyful moment. So it's like I'm really trying to like cherish those moments of brightness more, I guess, because it's like I know, you know, I don't get to stay there forever. And so I think that those moments are, yeah, just much more for lack of a better term, like they're real. Like it's just real. Like that's the nice thing about, that is one nice thing about sobriety, is like stuff is real now, but that also means the pain is real. And so it's that tug of war, I guess.
I wonder if there's like a couple of things happening at the same time. And Brannon, you might be wanting to go a different direction, so redirect me if you need
fine.
to. But with typical recovery, Jeff, sounds like you're kind of working it. And I mean, I even hear like Lexus is saying that she notices that you're sober, but she also notices that you're becoming aware of other things. And she's now even more aware of those other things too. And it like rubs raw now because they're there in your face all the time. And that doesn't make for a better marriage right now, but that is a lot of times part of the process of recovery. When you start to get sober, then you have to confront all those I call them the secondary character flaws that have been protecting the addiction all along. And so now I've got to deal with the fact that one of mine was that I was too checked out with my kids, and I was like, oh man, I'm not as present as I thought I was. And that had to be hard for my wife because she was probably screaming it the whole time. And now I'm realizing it, and now I'm still doing it, but not fixing it all the way yet. And she's like, or yours is like maybe the anger that's coming up. And now you've got to work on that. And that might even be more important than the acting out right now, except for the fact that the acting out numbs you from having to look at that.
Right.
And so it's like when you start to look at the secondary character flaws, if there's room for the continued work for recovery to include all of that and not just your sobriety, that becomes really important. And I think one place where Brannon might be going, and one of the reasons I asked the question is like when we get new clients who come into like our groups, I tell them, I don't want you to come to group unless you show up every week and you're consistent. And then it's kind of a weird paradox because usually a little ways in, they've been doing their work, you start to see the traction being made, and then one of them will call me and be like, hey, I'm missing group this week. And I'll be like, what? You can't miss group. And they're like, no, I'm missing group this week because my kid has a ballet thing and I'm going to go to that instead. And I'm like, hallelujah. Like, you're finally getting it. Like, I'm going to be the person who makes choices based on my values. And guess what that is? That's recovery. But now I'm doing it intentionally for the right reasons based on our values. And so I think Brannon's maybe asking, are you in a spot where the 2.1 level of care is necessary for the progress you're making? And would it be better to take a look at saying, you know what, I'm also a husband and have 2 little girls, and I'm going to cash in one group a week for reading a parenting book with my wife and making sure we're on the same page, or doing a date night, even though she doesn't want to go with me right now, because that's going to be painful and we got to figure out how to get through that. Or, and I don't know, I don't want to push you out of a program that's working for you, but it's worth asking the question, like, what's the overall goal and what is necessary for what your goals are?
Yeah, I think that is something we've talked about, and it's a tricky place. Again, I'm stuck with this. Like I've listened to a bunch of you guys' podcasts, so I've been thinking about that salmon metaphor, like the salmon swimming up the river and then trying to swim up and get up the waterfall, and like when's the right time to like, break stuff down. And so like, it's weird because like, I'm in this program and I've been doing the amount of meetings and it's working. I feel like I've finally gotten to the place where I'm not super like pissed off at my sponsor anymore because of all the stuff that he makes me do. Like, it's kind of like, oh, I see that it's worked, and it's working. And so my sponsor, he's pretty hard about the like 4 meetings a week thing. So like that, trying to go down a level on that and even like start to pare back, yeah, it brings in kind of that fear of like, well, okay, then am I still hitting enough stuff? Like, am I putting my sobriety and recovery at risk by doing that? And I might have to go out there and find a new sponsor as well. Like he's kind of made it clear that if I don't want to do that many, like I'll have to find a new sponsor. And so that's where it's like, there's, go ahead. Yeah.
Well, Jeff, as I'm listening to you talk, it's just like, you're getting the results that you're getting in your life. Like, that's what you're getting. We can't get around that, right?
And some of them are good.
Yeah. And the question is to zoom out and say, are these what I want? And what I'm hearing in many ways, they're not, right? But if you keep doing the same thing and expecting different results, and I'm hearing like a lot of do be have stuff going on. Do you know what I mean by that?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. If I do all the things my sponsor tells me, if I do this, if I do that, then I'll have recovery.
Then I'll be good enough, and then I'll have recovery.
Versus shifting it, and be do have is a lot scarier. It's more vulnerable because you shift into a place of, I'm going to trust myself. I'm going to operate from a place of my deep intuition, know who I am. I'm going to have boundaries with people. And I'm gonna live more authentically rather than be on a leash pulled around telling me what I should and shouldn't do, right? And my guess, and I'm kind of jumping to the chase here because we only have so much time. My guess is deep down, that's what Lexus is craving. Is a man who's grounded and knows himself and trusts himself. And so the things that you're doing, I think, are yielding some positive results, but those positive results that you're getting actually are giving you enough to say it's working, but you're actually not addressing the real issue because of that. Because it's like, this is working, this is enough, but are you actually getting down to the real issue? And you probably are in some ways. Sounds like with your life coach and things like that, like you're doing some good work there.
Yeah.
But I would shift some things. I'd do some different work if I were both of you, actually. So what do you hear me saying, you guys?
I mean, yeah, like even just as you're saying that, like I recognize that like I am way more dependent on Lex than I care to admit as far as like getting my worth. Like if she's not happy, like how can I be happy? I've obviously screwed up, And so
and by the way, Jeff, with what you just said, sorry to be annoying, where does that give her any space to be unhappy? Where does that give her any? It doesn't, right? Because then you crumble, right? And then you can see why she's annoyed by you because she's got to caretake for you rather than be her, right?
Right.
So, all right, I'll step out. Sorry.
Yeah, I totally get it. Like, yeah, it's something I'm recognizing, and so there's that part of it. So still discovering, and I mean, even re-listening to like kind of my last episode, it's like, yeah, I think I'm still learning who I really am, like really like figuring out what those needs are, figuring out like what my strengths are, I guess, still as well. Like, cause I even to today, like, if you ask me to like list out the things that like I'm good at or where I bring the most, I don't know. And I mean, Lex could probably tell you like, I still suck at taking a compliment because like, I just don't believe what people say just because I don't believe it about myself. And so, yeah, I like to get to that place where I can just be like, I'm working on that. But for me to say like, yeah, I could just be right now, like, I don't know. So I'm still having to like, that's one of those wrestles too, right? Where I'm trying to continue to ask God to like, give me that stuff so that I can keep learning it so that that I can step into that strength and just be me. Because and it goes back to, again, what I said in kind of the last episode, is just like, I've been so blind for so long, just like blinding, like gaslighting myself, like lying to everybody around, like just so afraid. And some of them just my deep childhood wounds of just like I just don't know what my worth really is. So like for me to then try and step into that place of like, oh yeah, like I'm good. Like I'm worthy. Like it's yeah, that's that's work that I need to be doing. So
I think that's kind of what I'm hearing is the place where you guys are at in the work. And I just maybe insert my own personal story with you here, Jeff, something I see is, for so long, I was so worried about losing everything important to me, my wife and my kids, that I would do anything I could to make sure that my wife was placated and that I didn't mess up and that I didn't lose her. And it was truly a fear-based energy. That's what Brannon's talking about with the be, have, do, and the do, have, be stuff. But over time, and this is the middle stuff, and this is the stuff that I think your middle steps and the 12 steps actually really get at, or hopefully what you're doing with your coaching, you start to kind of move into a place where the energy has to shift for long-term success. And the energy for me went from fear to almost like anxiety and possibility, to a little sliver of, whoa, maybe I'm actually lovable, to then the burning energy of, I already know I'm loved. And as that energy starts to shift, that is the sustainable energy of a long-term full recovery. And sobriety will take care of itself when the energy is love. Sobriety is hard to keep when the energy is fear. And I think that's like, on your side of things, Jeff, I hear you being in the middle of that wrestle. I love that you're there, dude. But that has to be the wrestle more than continuing to chase just the sobriety.
Yeah.
So I also want to know, Lexus, like while Brannon was talking, I was just watching your body language, and there seemed to be like a couple of different emotions or thoughts that went through you. What was that?
Yeah, I think just a lot of what he said is a more beautiful way of what I feel like I haven't been sharing with Jeff. I think I see a lot of fear in Jeff. And I think it's hard because, yeah, he does have this sponsor who like tells him like XYZ needs to happen. And that's really hard. And I want, it's what you guys are saying is like, I want him to act out of a place of what he values. Like I really want him to figure out what he values, and I want him to do and act like out of that space instead of fear. I think a lot of the ways he shows up that may be like annoying to me or like whatever, and there's some of those things that are just silly and they're me. Like it's like part of that's me. But another part of it is I think I see that he's sober. And to me, it's like, I see you're sober, but are you really like aligning yourself with your values now? Like, because right now it feels like you're still in the same loop of like, being away from us and like trying, like, and it's just like a hard balance of like maintaining sobriety, not being fearful, and like acting in a way that like shows us that like your family is really what you value. I don't know. And I think it's hard because I think, like I said, there's a lot of those like knots that we're trying to untie that have like come to fruition of like what, like these things of, like, oh, now there's this anger part and there's this, there's no numbing. And I don't know. I guess I'm just saying like, I want us to both be acting in a way that's like not out of fear, but out of love, because I think we've been driven by fear for so long. Mm-hmm. Like a lot of what both of us have done has been out of fear of like, it's like me being on like cautious, like, is he acting out? Is he not? Like just fear of all that. And like, now we're in a place where he's sober, but I'm still like, we're still kind of in a place of fear of like, okay, now you're sober. Like, are we going to go back to that? And then when, I feel like maybe the way we act is not like aligning with our values, that's hard for me. I think that's where some of the resentment comes. And I think it's a learning process. I don't know if Jeff or I have ever been practiced and like working out of a place that doesn't have some fear. And so I think that's just something that we need to learn in order to get out of these places where we feel stuck.
Go ahead.
Brannon, you go.
No, please.
I just one observation, then I'll kick it over to Brannon here. What you just said, Alexis, I said Alexis, sorry, Lexus.
You're fine.
Is so beautiful that you're saying, I see that in him, but I also feel it in me. And then I wonder, like, if we're piecing this together now, part of at least what you're saying is, I want him to choose from his values, which would hopefully mean choosing us as a family sometimes to be close to us. So I'm going to invite him to be close to us by being annoyed at everything he does. which is another way of saying I'm too afraid to actually go with love and say, man, I'm putting myself out there and I'd love for you to choose us tonight instead of something else.
Totally.
So I'm just going to kind of give you the message that I'm upset with you, but then when you choose us, I'm going to keep you at arm's length.
Yep.
And that's a normal place for people to end up being, because it's scary to step back into the spaces you guys are trying to. And I hear you both doing it. I really do. I hear good work happening on both sides. So yeah. Go ahead, Brannon.
Yeah, I have really fat fingers, by the way. And so if I want to give you an analogy here, like if, let's say my wife dropped her wedding ring down a drain and I stuck my finger down to try to get it, what would I do? I'd push it further down the drain. I just go further down. This is what
your fingers are short though too, Brannon. So
I know it wouldn't go very far. Wouldn't go very far, would it? That's what happens with conversations like this with shame. So Jeff, with you, as we're saying, like, hey, yeah, you shouldn't show up in fear. Like, just don't show up in fear, and and you feel shame about how you're showing up weak. And as we talk, I can feel your shame, Jeff. I can feel like, yeah, I want to show up stronger, but I don't, and I'm just weak, and I'm not showing up strong, and we're just pushing that ring further down the drain, right? Is that what you're feeling a little bit, Jeff?
A little bit. Like I think it's more. It's just like, yeah, I right now I'm not feeling that way. Where it's like, I can just recognize what you're saying is true. Yeah, like I want to shift over more to love. Like that quite frankly is what I need to do and get out of that fear.
Do you know how?
That's the part that's tricky. Yeah, no, like not exactly.
There's one path. There's one path. And this is same for you, Lexus. It's same for all of us as humans. If there's if there's a mean dog chasing you and you're running everywhere you can and hiding from it, eventually to deal with that dog, what do you need to do?
You gotta stare that dog in the face.
And you got to sit like in that vulnerability of like, it's getting closer and I'm going to confidently look in its face and let it know that I'm strong, that I can handle this. And chances are that dog will turn around and walk away. But if you're just running, and when I say running, it's things like compliance and trying to be good enough. And, let me give you some examples, Jeff and Lexus, this could maybe trigger some things, but let me give some stupid examples here. Let's say Jeff wanted to buy a fancy sports car, just like this really nice sports car, and it's like God came down to you and said, you need that sports car. Like you need it. And you're thinking, okay, I need to get it. And Lexus is like, we don't have the money. What should Jeff do? You had a dream and God is like, that sports car is important. You need that.
I mean, I'm obviously I need to buy it, but
but Lexus comes along and says, no, you don't.
Lexus tries to check you into a mental institution for being bipolar.
Midlife crisis. Not happening. What do, Jeff?
I mean, I guess I'm going to the mental institution until I can, and go there until they realize I'm not crazy, and then I go try and buy the car still.
Okay, so
what I actually do is probably not anywhere near those lines. I probably go find like a beater Toyota and be like, yeah, we did it. Like we've stuck to the budget and we got the car. It's not the one that I was told to get, but we're somewhere along the lines.
Listen to this example. What I'm saying though, like you doing something like this. I hate to say this, but the dog that you're looking back at here is Lexus's like lack of approval. Like she doesn't want you to, in this example, she doesn't want you to buy the car. God's telling you get that car. And so Lexus will hate it, but she'll like it. So she'll feel safe because now she's with a man.
Only if there's principle behind buying the car.
Yeah, God came down. There's principle. There's faith. It's like clear that this is truth. And so Lexus will hate it, but if there's principle behind it, like Tyler's saying, over time, when you show up that way consistently again and again and again, all of a sudden you're a stable, trustworthy man, right? And then she's going to want to be close to you. If you're selling out all the time again and again, she's going to be right where she's at now, Jeff, where she's pushing away, like, I just don't trust you. And she's got her own stuff she's working on too, right? Yeah. Do you see the principle though? There?
Yeah.
But don't go getting abusive and tell her you had a dream about buying a new car.
It would be a motorcycle.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be a car.
Make sure God actually tells you that.
Yeah. Like you guys are giving ideas.
Yeah, it's hard because it causes some friction, but at the same time, and so yeah, Tyler and I see guys swing the pendulum from weak guy, like with no backbone and no truth, to like, okay, now I'm going to show you that's weakness too.
Yeah.
Versus like, I'm going to focus on my relationship with God here, trust myself, and act in this humble truth, even when it is hard. That's where strength is, right?
A different version of that would be what we just talked about in the relationship, where she says, hey, I wish you would choose to invest in the time in the family a little bit more. And then when you're there, she's like, why are you here? You sweep the floor wrong, you do the dishes wrong, like you never show up with the right kind of energy, you're always angry. And then instead of disappearing, you still hang in there with her and acknowledge her feelings, and then still stick to being there and being present.
Yeah. I was going to say, I certainly don't wipe the counters down right. That's for sure. Yeah, I think, one of the things that's tough is like, even right now, I'm kind of early in my career. I'm at a startup, and the work hours have been crazy. And so I've been working a ton of hours, and so that's just one more place that I'm not around enough. And again, I wish there was this black and white, like, yeah, like in the example that Brannon gave of like, oh, God's come down and been like, okay, you need to get the sports car, but it's like, it's not that black and white. It's so much more gray, right? So it's like, on one hand, I'm here, I'm working these hours, and I'm trying to progress the career so I can provide for the family, and so that my earning potential increases such that like I can create, more space or like hold things. And so, in one way I come home and Lex is just completely burnt out from the day, right? She's been dealing with these two kids, and she's chosen to give up her job recently, which I think has always been something that she's kind of been holding on to. And whether that's like almost like I'm diagnosing this one, like a way of her kind of holding on to the masculine. She's very feminine. So I think it was a way of her holding on to the masculine, like, oh, I can provide, I can do this stuff. And she's actually done really good to like give that up, because she realizes that's not congruent with her values. But now she's feeling stuck in that, like being with the girls. And then I don't show up, I don't get home. And then when I do get home, I'm beat. Like I've been working mentally. And so, yeah, to get to that place of empathy of being like, man, yeah, I see that you're having a hard time, and to just hold that space, but then also know, and I'm going to go back to work tomorrow as well. And like,
Jeff, I want to ask you say it's not that clear cut. Do you know the difference between a feeling of fear and a feeling of peace?
Fear is standing at the top of the diving board, and peace is like after I've safely made it into the water, and I'm like, that was a pretty sweet jump. Like,
Interesting.
I don't.
Have you ever had peace, figuratively speaking, before you've jumped off the board, where you just know you've got to do it? It might hurt, but it's the right thing to do, and you are convicted in the peace that it's the right thing to do.
I can't think of an example right now. I hope that if I scan my whole life, I could find one. But
yeah,
you can have peace in dangerous situations.
Yeah.
All right. Jeff, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, I worked through step 8, I believe, or step 9, whichever one's where you got to go and make amends and stuff. And obviously, there was some peace in those moments of like, this could suck, like making this phone call to like make this amends, but like, it is what it is.
It's the right thing to do.
It's the right thing to do. So I think there's some there, but I don't know that I've got I don't know that I've got a lot of peace around like some of these bigger ones. I think sometimes I've had some peace in like the sharing my story more, like kind of putting myself out there and being like, this is what I've gone through. Relate to any of this, like whatever, because like that's kind of scary sometimes to see if anybody's like, you don't know how people will react when you share like, oh hey, actually I've been dealing with an addiction for like last 15 years, like
right.
How are you going to respond to this? So I think some of those places I've felt that peace rather than the fear. But
Jeff, if you were to, and I want you to stop for a second and think about this before you answer. If you were to say, I go to 4 groups a week because I feel peace about going, or I go to 4 groups a week because I'm afraid that if I don't, my sponsor will be mad. I won't stay sober. And so fear is driving me to go to group, or peace and truth is driving me to go to group. So stop and think about it before you just knee-jerk reaction to that. And there's no right answer here, but I want the honest truth.
It's it's a both and.
I love it, dude.
Yeah, it's both. Like, I certainly, and it's sometimes day to day. Like,
if it's
some days,
Jeff,
yeah.
if it's both and, then could you go to 2 groups a week and spend more time with Lexus? Because that would be more balanced, right?
Well, let him sit with it for a second.
It's yeah, it's a tough spot. There's the first thing that comes up is like, yeah, the fear of like, oh, I'm gonna have to like have this conversation with my sponsor. I'm gonna have to take that.
You have tried to have.
I have tried to have this.
He has tried to have.
And what I did was I came up with, it used to be that I was going to all night meetings. And so what I did is I started a new meeting that was at 6:30 a.m. that I could get up to, so I had more nights at home, so that I could like, so that Lex could have a night to go out. So I've tried to find the creative places in there. But
is that to avoid his wrath? Like, I love sponsors like your sponsor, like props to this guy,
too. This guy's the man. Yeah.
And at the same time, like, are you going to step up for you of like what is actually working for you, even if this guy's intense?
Yeah, that's and that's where it comes back to that both and is like, some of it's fear and some of it's like, yeah, this works. And so I'm still like having that. So I could, I think the biggest issue here is like my sponsor has made it so, and I already hate just saying that because I've already given the power away, right, to my sponsor. But there's like, I need to go back and have the conversation again with him and talk to him, because now I have a sponsee. There seems like there might be some room to where, anyway, that's going to decide. He made it seem as though I'd have to go get a new sponsor if I wanted to drop that down. So it's not necessarily as simple as like, oh, I can just try this like 2 meetings a week and I can figure out like, oh, that doesn't actually work for me. I need to like go to more. It's, if I decide to do that, I'm going on this journey of finding a new sponsor, likely need to restart the steps, that all process. Yeah. Like, what does that do as far as my sobriety? Like
So Jeff, the point that Brannon's making is whatever you decide to do, own it.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah, and own it from a place of having thought that through and say, you know what, this sponsor is that valuable to me that I've got to keep it this way for this and this and this and this reason. And then you can go and you can have that conversation with Lexus and let her be upset at you about that, but know that you made it because you thought it through and you're acting on certain reasons and principles.
Right.
We're out of time, and we haven't even really gotten all the way to Lexus's side. I want a whole episode with Lexus. Yeah, I want to invite you guys back too sooner than later, because we're just diving in, and God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. Healthy masculinity is about channeling your anger and aggression for good. It's about living on the edge. It's about being a warrior and being able to be honest and authentic. And Jeff, your work that you're doing, I want to give you props because you've done awesome work. But now it's time to do deeper work. It's time to go further. And Lexus is a great reflector back to you of like, hey, this isn't quite like what we're going for here. And you are capable, Jeff, of dealing with your shame and your trauma and becoming that powerful, safe, strong man for her. I know you are, Jeff. So I really appreciate you guys coming on, your vulnerability. And I'm serious. I'd love to have you back soon. We would love to have you come on if you're willing again, if you didn't get too beat up this time around.
No. They'll beat us up a little more.
Okay. Alexis, I loved having you and your presence here today. I know that you're asking really good questions, and I could see a lot of people are just going to listen and not see, but I could see things kind of moving through you too in terms of your own work going, oh, I could look at it this way, or oh, this or that. I see things churning in you too, and I'd love to address those sometime. So thank you guys. Thank you to our listeners for being here. Thank you to you guys for coming on. We love to have couples especially. So if anybody else is out there listening and wants to come get put through the ringer that that Jeff and Lexus just did, go to therapybrothers.org and sign up to come on the show. We'd love to talk with you guys. And until next time, keep on keeping on.